Welcome to today's webinar. We're so excited that you could join us for this special session introducing Inspire.World, a valued business advocate member of FACM. Before we dive in, I want to take a moment to thank you all for being a part of FACM. Our goal is to support early childhood education centers with resources, partnerships, and information that help you run your businesses more effectively. Today's session is a perfect example of that. Imagine having access to additional funds to unlock new opportunities for your students. Today, you can learn how to make this possibility a reality through Inspire.World. With that, it is my pleasure to introduce Dan.Barrett, Chief Sales Officer at Inspire.World. Today, Dan will walk you through how Inspire.World works and how you can get started. And we'll also have plenty of time for your questions at the end. So with that, I will turn it over to Dan.
Thanks, Henry, for the introduction. For those that don't know what Inspire.World is we are a fundraising company that allows you to raise funds, use those for whatever purpose you want, and we do this at no cost to you at any time of the relationship. We have the ability to, for lack of better terms, be an annuity for you and your organization that allows you to be very successful and, more importantly, use those for whatever purpose. That could be hiring additional staff, that could be buying educational toys, various other things for the children, as well as whatever purpose you deem fit. That could be staff or otherwise. This is the agenda we're going to cover today, and I am going to do this tag team style with my partner, Cindy Ulvenes, and Cindy is our Chief Marketing Officer, and I will let Cindy introduce herself as well.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. We are excited to share an overview of how we may be a solution for your challenges that you're facing today, and just really interested in learning more about how you operate and how we can better serve you moving forward. So thank you in advance for your time.
And if any questions come up, please feel free to ask them in context to what we're presenting. That way, no assumptions are made on either side.
So to give you a little bit of an introduction about Inspire.World and how we help our clients, as Dan alluded to earlier, we are a fundraising organization, but how we go about fundraising is very unique and different than other alternatives. But at the end of the day, we enable socially driven purchases for the benefit of the organizations in which we help. We've basically harnessed technology and the e-commerce landscape to redefine fundraising and provide a fast, safe, and effective solution for you. We'll empower you by generating a customized e-commerce site for your organization. And as Dan shared, it's at no cost to you. And we host that on your behalf as well. So it's really a simple formula here that we're offering. Our mission is also really simple, but yet powerful. We believe in doing good. And as part of our promise of doing good, we give back 50% of the profits generated to you. So we enable your mission to grow within your community and fuel your revenue pathway. Just a quick overview of how we embrace and apply consumer habits to fundraising. I bet, more than 3/4 of the audience can tell me that they've shopped online within the past month. And so is over 80% of the US population. 63% of all shopping journeys now begin online, whether that's researching products or facilitating a purchase. And the e-commerce revenue in the US is over 1.1 billion today. So by tapping into the audiences that shop online in a version in which they prefer to shop, we believe that, we're giving everybody a head start in how we're approaching fundraising. So really, what does this mean for you? By partnering with us, we'll provide you with the ability to engage and grow your brand within your community. The revenue that you generate from your efforts with fundraising with us can be applied to however your needs are, such as improving services to your families, to your classrooms, and ideally without having to raise costs. We, as Dan said, could be an annuity for your organization as we help make annual budgets more predictable through our solution. And then by shifting behaviors of your supporters to simply shop on your e-commerce site, they support you and your community by generating revenue.
These are some of the challenges that, in doing some research, I uncovered that are synonymous with the FACM group. For example, it could be shortage of staff, being able to pay them low wages, turnover, so on and so forth. You have the ability for individuals, it costs them a lot of money to have their kids in daycare. Little point of fact, I spent some time doing some research. Now, granted, I'm not within the FACM audience. I live in Illinois. But where my granddaughter is, when I talked to the owner of that organization, they brought up a couple facts. They said they always want to keep tuition as low as possible. That way they retain as much of their staff as possible. They want to offer the best quality food where food is appropriate. Some people do and don't get it, depending how long the child is staying there. They want to have educational toys and activities for them to do. And all these pieces require funds to do so. And they want to make sure that they offer the best possible service so that a family has the ability to come to them, feel comfortable for the caring of their child while the child is in the custody of the child care center, giving them the ability to feel that their dollar is going the best and their child is getting a start to their education or the ability to watch them as effectively as a parent would. So these are some of the challenges that are facing the organizations such as yourselves. And if there's any other that's out there, we could address those now, or we could keep going on how we solve these individual problems. No comment, so we'll keep going. So if a family is having funds issue or the ability not to do things in an effective manner, in other words, pay for the service, so to speak, or you're having trouble with staff as far as retaining, paying, keeping them going. As mentioned, this is an annuity. Why is it an annuity for you? Because this sits in the background, 7 by 24 by 365 at no cost ever in the relationship. And we passively raise funds for your benefit. How do we do that? We're going to go into that a little bit later as far as the specific vehicles and aspects. But it takes the purchases that people would do from Amazon, Target, Best Buy, Walmart, Expedia, whomever, and instead of the profits going back to those organizations, 50% of the profits, as Cindy stated, go back to you and your organization. Over the period of an entire year, it's a way to augment your budget through that annuity aspect, getting paid on a monthly basis, giving you the ability to shore up your budget, maybe offer some additional, whether it's educational tools, activities, things of that nature. Maybe it's pay your staff. Maybe it's have some of your staff go through the FACM certification process so that, again, recognized within Florida and the guidelines there as being someone who's above and beyond, which would be a differentiator for you and your child care center amongst the local ones. In addition, we also have the ability through that fundraising aspect to keep your tuition cost as low as possible, giving you the ability to use the funds as you see fit anywhere within your child care for the benefit of your organization, your center, as well as all the families that participate within it.
So choosing the right fundraising partner can be a difficult decision. There's a lot of platforms out there and it's time intensive. It's difficult to educate your participants and provide ongoing support. It can be hard to sustain. You may be doing fundraising already and experiencing donor fatigue. And then, as we all know, when there are environments of, a poor economy and inflation challenges, it often makes fundraising success difficult. I will say the one nice thing with partnering with us is it can complement any efforts you may have already in place, or it can be a standalone solution as well.
You do not have to get rid of any other vehicle you have in place.
Correct. We have a few different pathways inside of our suite of capabilities. So our fundraising pillars that we would be housing inside of your e-commerce suite would be the Inspire.World Perks app, which will go into details around that. Customized products, we can put your logoed items up on your website available for sale. And then everyday merchandise, as Dan alluded to earlier, think of, an Amazon, a Walmart storefront, e-commerce site. We sell similar items today. And by just shifting your consumer ecosystem to purchase off of your website, you'll be able to generate revenue.
First item we have is the Inspire.World Perks app. This gives you the ability to have 500,000 discounts all throughout North America, US, and Canada. So when people are traveling within Florida, there's Florida-specific discounts that you can go to, restaurants, movie tickets, oil changes, car wash, mini golf, various discounts, all done geographically by zip code or city-state combination. So wherever you are within Florida, you enter your zip code or the city-state combination, and all the discounts for this will appear. The ability on a $35 purchase, each childcare center is going to receive $15 from each purchase that's there. So if you had 100 families times $15, that's $1,500 that you could use, again, anywhere in the organization. And the benefit to the individual that's buying it for you is we see anywhere from 7.5 to 10x return on that $35. So they're going to save anywhere from $265 to roughly $350 annually, which is they buy something, has a benefit for you and your childcare center, but they, as an individual, are going to get the instant ROI and that 7.5 to 10x return. Therefore, they're more inclined to do it next year. So now I'm building an annuity, I'm changing the behavior, and then I get the year-over-year residuals that come in from my supporters, my family, group of individuals within your childcare center. And additionally, because some people would be getting that benefit as their children go into the public schools, they still might buy and renew the perk app through you, thus you getting the benefit of it while their children are going to the public schools. It is a very good way to raise money, give something back, and then more importantly, it also provides the aspect for them as they do, again, part of the daily shopping, the daily activities, going out to dinner, movies, whatever entertainment aspects. They now have the ability to save money. And every time they do, that's a positive for you and the child care center. I've talked to some of this. I can go through and show the app if we want, but maybe that's something we do at a later time. I would just say that the app is very powerful, giving you the ability not only to be successful with it, but it's a purchase that gives back to the user, and they're not going to feel like they donated $35, quote unquote, for the child care center's benefit and get nothing in return. This is something they get to use for the balance of the year. Cindy, I'll let you talk to this.
Sure. So the other pathway that we have to offer to you all is customized products. And basically, just to reiterate, there is no quantity pre-purchase amount of items that you are required to consider. We simply populate customized gear once you provide us with your logo. will choose our top selling items and put them on your site. If you want to have additional items, you can work with our support team. We can review different inventory options, and we can publish those on your site. But what's nice about this is there's a few pathways of consideration that may make sense for you, but as a whole, it will drive brand awareness. And, we often find that community supporters like to purchase logoed merchandise, and it generates revenue on each purchase sold.
Then we have your everyday products that are out there. We have the ability to put them up on your site. And again, the purpose there would be you're changing the behavior of the supporters of your childcare center and giving them the ability to redirect those profits back to your organization for the benefit of the organization in whatever manner you see fit. There is 10.5 to 12 million products that are out there. The reason for the disparity is there are some products you would show to, for example, a childcare center, and other products we might take off that list, not because they're controversial on anything, they just would not be age appropriate to the individuals that you would have and or the families. So we have quite a lot of products that we choose. They're very age appropriate, applicable to the audience that we're serving here. But instead of Amazon, Target, Best Buy, Walmart, whatever, getting the profits from that, profits are redirected to you. And with our share of the 50% profits, we cover all the costs. That's why we can offer at any time of the relationship, there is no cost to you. It's a one-way relationship, us with the money outbound to you and your organization. That's what makes us different from what's going on. This is actually the FACM site, and give me 1 second here. And I will see if I can find where I have the FACM site and pull that up. And I'm just going to go from the presentation. It's not presenting. It's already been covered up. What we have within the site, and I'll just enlarge the screen here. We take a banner picture from you. That's what we put up on the site. We take the mission statement, the reason why you're doing the fundraising. This is actually off FACM site right there. Oops. And then we have the first thing we show is the app. We show you the price. Right below it, we show how much goes back. We're very transparent about that. Now, the FACM team, Henry and Glenn, wanted some floor mats outside of their building with the FACM logo on it. That is the customization flexibility we have the ability to provide to them. And then when they purchase it, there's a dollar amount. There's how much goes back to the organization. And as Cindy mentioned, we have standard custom gear. I'll shrink this down. Whoop, wrong way. Shrink this down a little bit. What this provides is the ability to have the custom gear with the logo that's up there, giving you the ability to have people advertise for you, show their support for you and your organization. And these items can be customized to any one of a number of things that we can source, get them back to you. And that allows you to have your name out there in the community. So as people think of a childcare center, they're going to think of you and your organization as we go forward. Cindy, I'll let you take this.
Sure. So because we have an always on 24/7, 365 platform, we recommend trying to think about a phased approach in how you engage your community supporters once you bring on Inspire.World as a fundraising solution. So for example, with the Inspire.World Perks app, if you create a timeline and somewhat of a sense of urgency, you could generate revenue pretty quickly. When you think about how many families you have inside of your childcare center, if each family bought one app, that generates $15. And as Dan said, for example, if you had 100 families, that quickly generates $1,500. We've had some organizations where they put it in as a benefit and pre-charge. So if you had monthly dues or an annual registration fee, and you wanted to add that in for an additional $35, $15 is going back to your organization, but it's also a benefit to that family because they can use that app anywhere across the US and Canada for discounts. But it is a quick built-in revenue generator. So depending on the time of the year, you may want to focus on, an Inspire.World Perks app push. And then the other consideration similar would be with customized merchandise. So, just encouraging your community supporters and families to purchase customized merchandise. It could be car magnets. It could be what, people are seeking today with cups and things like that. But another consideration for your facility could be, I know children don't generally wear uniforms, but if there was a special summer camp or a holiday show, you could create a t-shirt. We offer, infants all the way to adults. So those are just some ideas to consider on how to think about customized merch. And then your everyday items. Again, just reminding and encouraging your supporters to come to your site to look for solutions for items that they might be seeking elsewhere. I did see a comment pop up around our pricing. We do utilize a price tool, and we're generally within a 10% variance between other e-commerce sites for like products. So we do generally have a pretty good landscape of like pricing and competitive pricing. It may just not be equal brands. So I'm sorry, I can't read completely what that comment said, but hopefully that helps a little bit.
The steps, this page is our last page here, and we'll open it up for some general comments and questions, feedback, so on and so forth. But this is the what do you need to get started piece. You can go to the URL that's up there or scan the QR code. There are 4 basic things that you as an individual need to do. You need to provide, again, that banner picture that we can use, copy of your mission statement, what you're using the funds for, fill out the terms and conditions, and also, or your high-res logo. The terms and conditions are in the registration sheet. The registration sheet takes approximately 3 to 5 minutes to fill out. Then once that is filled out, within 24 to 48 hours after that, we will have the site. And then the other benefit is we don't just spin the site up for you and then disengage. The intent is you are successful, you get to raise funds when your supporters know about it, and your supporters are going to the site for your benefit. So we, through efforts with Cindy and her team and myself through the sales team, we will make sure that individuals are there to help you, to be an extension of your team, to make sure that it is successful and that you are adequately raising funds for your child care center's benefit so that you can use those funds elsewhere in the organization. And while Cindy was talking, hang on one sec. I actually found the FACM site. This is FACM's actual site through our system. And these are the items that the FACM team have chosen to put up on the site. And then I have the ability, if I so desire, to go to the shopping section, and then I can shop for various items that are there. Depending on what I'm looking for, how I'm looking for, so on and so forth, it gives me the ability to shop for items. And when I purchase any of those, FACM would be the recipient or the beneficiary of 50% of the profits. So with that, Cindy and I will stop for questions.
I see some coming in from Andrew. So in terms of the prices and percentage of people that shop, first of all, we won't be the lowest priced item, Andrew, but we are comparable in average across like-to-like merchandise. The perks sign up, it really depends on the organization and when their timelines are. A lot of sports teams push the app first, and we have very high success rate because the coach is, mandating that with their organization as their first priority. Within your environment, you may have some seasonality, and that may impact your consideration to how you want to approach implementing a focus on the app versus merchandise versus everyday items. But what percent of people this is? So our storefronts are evolving. So we are continuing to source new vendors and adding more products. Amazon, other organizations like Walmart have a much larger footprint than we do currently. Can you do just the perks program? Yes, absolutely. We can turn off everyday items or customized gear. You can, put things on the site over time. You can do a focus on just one or the other, or however you want to do it. We're completely flexible. I don't know if there's any other questions that may come in after the call, but Dan and I are happy to correspond and or jump on one-on-one with any of the teams. But the other thing I just want to reiterate, with all of the items, as we said, you'll get a percentage back of the profits. With the app, it's a little different. It's straight $15. But the benefit, to the families and purchasees are they can use that wherever they go across the US and Canada. And generally speaking, any zip code that they go into will have a plethora of offerings available to them.
Dan and Cindy, I actually have a question about marketing materials. Are there any resources that can be provided to centers to help
Yes,
them
thank you for
promote
bringing
the
that
app?
up. I meant to share that. So once somebody comes on as filling out that client registration form, we will produce a number of communications back to you. One will be, we'll create a QR code in your custom URL. That QR code will be assigned to your URL. So you can share those with your community members, but we will give you a marketing toolkit, a fundraising kickoff guideline. And basically within those toolkits and guidelines, we'll give you suggestions on how to consider social media across all of the channels, which you may, only have a certain amount that you have turned on to promote to your audiences. We'll give you creatives that you can choose to use, that you can customize. We'll also provide you with some social media copy suggestions. All of these are tools that, we want to make it as easy as possible to jumpstart your campaign. But it is, effort that is required on your end to make this successful is continue to promote this inside of your communication pathways, whatever those will be. But we try to make it as easy as possible by giving you these tools so that you can go as quick as possible once you're signed up. And we also have email templates. I'm trying to think, sorry if there's anything else, but fundraising kickoff guideline, social media creative, email templates, and social media copy.
Thank you, Cindy.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
Henry,
then also
also
in the guideline, I'll just share one last thing. If you have a website, then, we also encourage you to put some messaging on your site, and you can even hyperlink the URL so that if somebody enters your website, they can click on it from there and start shopping very easily.
I was just going to follow up, Henry, and say that we are an extension of your team. We will help you be successful. And should questions come up, you can always fire them into myself or Cindy.
And I'll just say that from a FACM perspective, we have found that to be very true. Anytime we have a question or query, we have reached out to Dan and his team, and they've been very responsive and helpful. So just want to share that with our audience today.
Thank you. Yes, we can email you that presentation. I'll just grab your email right now and do that when we jump off the call.
And Dan and Cindy, we typically will send a follow-up email to anyone that registered for these types of webinars. So if you wouldn't mind sharing the slide deck with me as well, I can include that in our follow-up messaging.
Great.
That's fine, Henry.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Anything that's unclear? Anything that you need answered before you start working with us? I think we have tapped your audience out, Henry.
All right. So to close this out, I have a slide here that I'll put up with Dan's contact info. So Dan, you should be seeing your phone number and email up on the screen there. And I've included my contact info as well. So anyone that would like to learn more or get started, feel free to reach out to Dan directly. And if you'd rather go through me first, feel free to do that as well. And I'll make sure to get you two connected. So Dan, anything else that would be helpful for the audience to know in terms of getting started here?
The sooner you start, the sooner you're going to have that annuity base on your budget and giving you the ability to do what you need: staff, food, toys, capital improvements, whatever it is that you need within your childcare. Let us help you and be that fundraising vehicle at no cost to you ever, giving you the ability to serve your local community and possibly even expand.
All right. Well, thank you, Dan and Cindy, for sharing this valuable information with our members. And thank you to those of you that were able to join us today. Again, Dan's contact info is up on the screen here. I certainly encourage you to reach out and ask any additional questions that you may have and get started. And with that, I hope that you all have a great rest of your afternoon.